All right, hey, again, let's talk. Eric Arnold here in the Politics Barn. Monday night, what is it, the 8th? The 8th, the 7th, the 8th, I'm not sure. It's Monday night. Don't send out the cognitive test police for me because I don't know the date. I'm retired. It's not all that important. But hey, things just keep happening, right? It's almost things are happening and then some things are not happening, i.e., what was that? A Sherlock Holmes story from way back when, the dog that didn't bark, something like that. In other words, sometimes what doesn't happen, it can be more significant than something that did happen. Example, nobody went out on the Sunday shows and defended Joe Biden. That Fox News said, hey, open invitation to any Democrat to come on Fox News and support Joe Biden, and nobody took that invitation. Oh, well, they all hate Fox. Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean that Democrats don't appear on that channel all the time. Just this time, they chose not to. That's significant. That's significant. So where are we here? Donald Trump being very quiet, I think being very smart. Let these people be the center of their own circular fire squad and let them have at it. I believe that the Democrats, with the exception of the Biden inner circle, have made the decision that this guy's going. He's going. Whether he knows it or not yet, and I'd have to say at the moment not, but they have made the decision that he's gone. Why do I think that? Well, here we got a number of things. Your heavy hitters are not going to come out in the news and say things. In other words, Hillary Clinton's not coming out in the New York Times and say, Joe Biden has to go. Barack Obama is not going to do that. They let their surrogates do it. You know, who are their surrogates? James Carville, he speaks for the Clintons. David Axelrod, he speaks for the Obamas. Van Jones, he speaks for the Obamas. So you watch these mouthpieces and you see what they say. That gives you somewhat of an inkling into what the power players are thinking. Now, are they being told on a one-to-one basis what to say? Probably not quite that explicitly, but they think alike. So, you know, if Carville's saying something, it's probably not too far off what the line of thinking is coming out of Clintonville, wherever that is. I assume those two live separately, Bill and Hillary. Carville had a piece out in the New York Times this morning. He is pushing the Blitz primary. I guess they're now have latched on to the phrase, our finest hour, and they capitalize it too. Finest hour. Which I think is just, these people are so disgusting. They're ripping off a Churchill quote where he talked about taking on the Nazis in the Battle of Britain, where for a while there it was teetering whether Great Britain would survive or they'd just be the latest country to have to surrender to Nazi Germany. And of course they survived. And that's why Churchill said, you know, if the British Empire stands for 1,000 years, let them say that this was our finest hour. So you see what they're doing there, of course. The finest hour being that they're going to stand and somehow they have this throw out our democratically primary nominated nominee, throw him out, and we're going to put in somebody else there that we control, and then somehow we'll beat the Nazi Donald Trump. It's like, well, kind of seems like the tactics you're using are kind of Nazi-esque, you know, but oh no, you know, this is your narrative, so I guess I'll let you tell your story. it's crap. But that's what Carville is dreaming of, that he and his other consultant elites, to use Joe Biden's word, he's now ripping off me and using my word, elites, which is funny because he is, if Joe Biden isn't an elite, then there is no such thing as an elite. He wants you to think he's Lunchbox Joe from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Dude, you haven't been that in 50 years. So don't give me this goddamn bullshit about you being Lunchbox Joe. But at any rate, so Carville wants this chosen fixed primary to go on at around the convention. Axelrod, he had a little passive-aggressive post today on Twitter, X, what have you, to the effect of, why is Donald Trump being so quiet? You know, why isn't he attacking Joe Biden? You know, the passive-aggressive point being that Donald Trump wants Joe Biden to stay in. That's not why he's not on the attack. Perhaps that's true. Very well could be true there. In other words, I'm not sure what I'm rooting for. I don't know what Trump, you know, is he rooting for an end or an outcome to this Democrat civil war? I'm starting to come down on the side of I kind of want to run against Biden just because I think he probably would be easier to beat, just like James Carville is saying, just like David Axelrod is saying, that perhaps he would be easier to beat than somebody who can perhaps string a few more sentences together than Joe Biden can. I don't know, I have a lot of control over it, but, you know. Van Jones, he had some comments, or I think he had a piece out in CNN, an article he wrote, which, and I didn't have time to read it. I skimmed it really quickly. It basically says, we're running Kamala Harris one way or the other. I think that was the title of it, which kind of sounds kind of like, you know, we're going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee. Now, James Carville obviously is not down with that. He wants this blitz primary, and the only reason he wants something like that is because he doesn't want Kamala Harris. So it's not set what they've all decided other than they're getting rid of Joe Biden. They all agree on that, except anyone named Biden. That's pretty much your limit. If you're not named Biden, you agree that he's got to go. Now, he still thinks he's staying in. He gave an interview this morning calling into his favorite propaganda piece, that Morning Joe. I believe Joe meaning Joe Scarborough, not Morning Joe Biden. It could be either, really. And it was, you know, a scripted, I'm certain that whatever questions Scarborough and his wife asked Biden were already given to Biden in advance. I'm certain of that. And you know, his points are, yeah, I'm staying in, I'm so damn good. I mean, I'm tired of these people doubting me. I'm so damn good, you know. And his, you know, nothing he said made you think he was any more capable than watching him in the debate. He's just not able to rise above what level of out in cyberspace he is. He's just out there. He's gone. He's history. He's an angry, demented old man. That's another reason why I think what the Democrats have decided to do is they've said, look, we went to this guy, said, look, you got to go. And he just threw a fit. It's like, all right, let's just back off on that. We've made that clear to him. Now, let's put in place some kind of replacement mechanism, because we don't agree on this yet. As I pointed out, this blitz primary is being floated by some of them, i.e., you know, that could be anybody then. You know, that could be anybody here. This one here, Whitmer, governor of Michigan. she come out today and basically said, I don't want to be involved. Even though she had been floating it back channel for weeks that she did want to be involved. I think that Biden's steadfast refusal to leave let her start to think, this is going to get kind of messy. Think about where she's looking at this from. Well, there's an election every 4 years, at least on our side of the aisle, the Democrats. In other words, whoever wins the Democrat primary can be president every 4 years. That's the way they think. In other words, they win the general election every year. So in 28, there's going to be another election, and I'll be looking pretty good here. I don't want to screw it up by losing in 24. I don't want to take my big chance too early and miss, and then I may never be president. So it could be what she's thinking there. But where were we going with that? I think they're putting into place this replacement mechanism. They're trying to decide what to do. Do we simply drop Harris in there? And that would be the easiest way to replace Biden, not necessarily the best way. I'm pretty sure that Carville and the consultant class believes that it'll be difficult to win with her as well, and they want freedom to put in somebody that they think they can win with, maybe even Shapiro there. Now, one of the reasons why I think they're just letting Biden stew in his own juices for a while is I think they're afraid of him, frankly. I have some experience dealing with angry people, and it's not pleasant. It's just not pleasant. You don't rush to do it. As they said in the great movie Fight Club, most people will do anything to get out of some kind of confrontation. Now, in Fight Club, they're talking about physical confrontation. But I think that holds in just any confrontation. An argument, a loud argument. People don't like that. I don't like that. So I don't know, who on Biden's staff would be the one that would go to him and say, sir, you're going to lose. Who's the one that's going to tell him that? This guy's going to bite your head off. And then you're probably going to lose your job in one way or the other. In other words, if they don't fire you outright, they'll just stick you in a corner, and you'll be the chief assistant to the assistant of the executive in charge of counting paper clips. You are dead politically at that point, and that's your life. So nobody's rushing to confront this guy. I don't even think Obama has done it, frankly. I think he may have had some gentle words with Joe, but I don't think he has confronted him and just laid it all on the line. Now, I think he may have been a little sterner with, say, Jill, without Joe in earshot, perhaps saying to her, hey, what the hell was that? Is that the best you guys could do? Because that ain't going to make it. I could see that have happened. But, him confronting Joe like that? No way. No way. There's no way. So that's where I'm thinking those guys, they're all just kind of like, okay, we tried so hard to get this guy to see where we're coming from, and he won't see it. And he's not going to see it. So that's why I think they are like, all right, look, let's get our house in order first. Let's have a succession plan ready to go at a moment's notice, and then we'll come back to this issue. And when they come back to that issue, they're going to get their way. That I feel pretty comfortable with. That, Joe has some cards to play, but we know the Bidens are transactional people. They have a price. It just needs to be met. So the Democrats are going to have to figure out what is that price. And once they meet that price, they'll leave. It'll be that simple. They could do it a couple different ways. They could try to blackmail them. They could try to threaten them with the 25th Amendment. Now remember, you gotta have 2/3 in each house to get somebody out unwillingly through the 25th Amendment. So that means you'd have to get a bunch of Republicans. I think they could probably do it. You would, I think at that point you would think the Republicans would act in unison, but they probably won't. In other words, I could see a bunch of Trump-hating Republicans go, well, you know what? If we think it's a lock that Trump is going to whack Biden, maybe we'll just go along and help these Democrats here put in a walking, talking, conscious candidate. Too bad for you, Donald Trump. I could see that happening. So I don't know it's impossible for them to get to 2/3. They could certainly threaten it. They could just change their own rules at the convention. This idea that these delegates are locked in and must somehow vote for Joe Biden or, it'll go to court. It's not going to go to court. This is all going to be decided by the Democrats themselves. What is Joe Biden going to do if he loses? He's going to run to court? He couldn't do that because that would make him look weak and he'd lose the election. So he has to basically abide by whatever rules the party makes up at the convention. And if they make up rules that say, anyone over the age of 80 is ineligible, too bad, then he's out. I think ultimately it'll be a combination of blackmail and bribery that'll kick Biden out. They'll get a carrot and a stick, the carrot and a stick. In other words, we'll 25th Amendment you, but hey, the donors have taken up a special donation fund in a Swiss bank account with untraceable numbers. And look, they don't have an extradition treaty. And we'll make sure that Kamala, her first or whoever, first act upon being president when they win is to pardon all of you. So you don't have to worry about that and paying lawyers and all that other crap. It'll be something like that. So I think that's where we're going. One of the signs, I told you that I think they're afraid of these guys. One of the signs that I know that they're intimidated by Biden, I read that transcript of the Stephanopoulos interview, and I was struck by how many times George misspoke. He stammered, he stuttered in the sentence there that we like to quote over and over again about the goodest he can do, which is what Biden said. He talked, Stephanopoulos had some nonsensical words in there. He was in the question. If what you've been warning about comes to pass, you mean what we've been warning you about comes to pass? That's what he meant to say, but he just ran his words together like people that run our mouths all day long do occasionally. So I just thought, George is obviously a pro's pro. So I just took that to mean this guy's nervous. This guy's nervous in the presence of the great and terrible Oz. So, he's not leaving yet. Let's see. Now, one of the things I think that I think the Democrats have a difference of opinion on with Biden is at the end of that interview in the goodest sentence, where Biden basically said, hey, if I lose and I did the goodest I can do, that's what it's all about. What does that mean? I mean, wait a minute. You've just said for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that beating Donald Trump is the earth ends. I mean, he is a monster. Democracy ends, America ends, and now suddenly you're saying, well, if I lose, I lose. I did the best I could. Oh, I'm sorry. I did the goodest I could do. There was even an argument now about what he's actually said. This is one of the reasons I hate these bastards so much. They are so dangerous. They are such liars. it's hilarious that they call Donald Trump a liar. It's like, how you people could call anyone a liar with a straight face, that just means you're sociopaths. You have no consciences. He clearly says the word goodest. 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 Now, put that on your board at your next Scrabble game and see if it counts or not. I promise you it will not. And you'll get angry saying, but the president used that word. That's a word. No, it isn't. The White House can't admit that's what he said. It's what he said. You go listen to it for yourself and you tell me that's not what he said. He certainly said the word the ahead of goodest. He said the goodest. If that's the goodest that I can hear, I wrote it down just so I wouldn't foul it up here. As long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job I know I can do, that's what this is all about. The goodest I can do. They want you to think he said, as good as I can do. Well, that's not even close to what he said. Or they want you to think he said, the good as I can do. The good as I can do. Well, that's gobbledygook too. But I guess they figured, well, that's better than just making up a freaking word. It's like, why the hell can't you guys just own it and just say, look, he misspoke. He clearly meant to say the best he can do. Just own it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but then that makes your guy look dementia-esque, and we can't have that. So we'd rather lie than tell the truth, of course. That's their go-to move. You know, deception, hallmark of evil. And that's all these guys do is deceive. The New York Times writer, Maureen Dowd, called them out for it. She wrote an article and she brought out this fact about the goodest. And she got contacted by the White House. And the White House had coerced ABC to change their transcript and take away the goodest and say that he said something else, which he obviously didn't. You can listen to the tape. You can run it and see what he said for yourself. He said the goodest. They're trying to tell you he didn't. They're changing the transcript. They're lying. ABC is lying at the behest of the White House. Nothing new there. And she's telling me about this, you know, because now suddenly the New York Times wants to get rid of Biden. So she's, doing a dirty deed here to the Biden team. She's telling the truth. So she's saying, look, I got contacted by the Biden White House saying, do you really run this article about the goodest, considering ABC said that's not what he said? It's like, well, I don't care if they say that's what he said or not. That's what he said. It's right there. It's on the, what did Rush Limbaugh call it? The digital media tape or whatever. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like Orwellian. You know, it's they basically just, you saw something happen, and then they come in and tell you, you didn't see that. It just didn't happen. You can't believe your own lying eyes. They do that over and over and over again. That's simply one of their go-to moves. It's horrible. It's evil. And if you're capable enough to spot that, good for you, because a lot of people can't. They're simply, I don't know, they're just not paying attention, don't want to pay attention, are afraid of the consequences. If they would ever say, take the red pill, to use the Matrix metaphor, oh no, reality would be too terrible. So I'm simply going to pretend that everything I want to believe, that Donald Trump's a monster and Joe Biden's a hero, I'm just going to pretend that's true. So, well, sadly, America's full of these kind of people. Let's see, what else we got? there was an article out in Town Hall by a man named Guy Benson. And it was an article that made me think. That's why I'm mentioning it by name. And he's referring to Trump as far as, Trump is just sitting back right now, eating his popcorn with the rest of us and watching this, these bad people duke it out amongst themselves. And he's not involved himself. And I think it's working because Biden said something about it in his Scarborough speech today. Axelrod tweeted something to that effect. It's upsetting these guys. The fact that Trump's just sitting there doing nothing, and they're getting all mad because he's winning. He's winning. He's sitting there winning. He's just sitting there winning. And he's keeping his mouth shut. It's like, good, Donald. You just keep doing what you're doing. It's working. We're winning. Do it. Just shut up. And he's doing it, and it's great. Benson's column was along the lines of what would happen if Trump came out and threw his weight hard against Biden. Basically just came out and said what a lot of these, basically just parrot what the New York Times said. Just basically say, it's obvious this guy's too old. He needs to resign the presidency now for the good of the country. I promise to pardon everybody. I'll promise to pardon you all just for the good of the country, to get you out of there for the good of the country. What would happen? Well, that's interesting because if Donald Trump would see a Democrat teetering on the edge of a volcano and he would say, whatever you do, be careful, don't jump. They would go, what? Who are you to tell me not to jump into the volcano? You evil bastard, I'll show you. And, into the volcano the Democrat would go. So the upshot being, if he wants to make sure that Joe Biden stays in the race forever, if he comes out and says he should get out, it's going to make it a lot harder for these guys to get him out of there, because not only then will Joe Biden want to stay in extra long just because Biden or Trump, his mortal enemy, told him he needs to get out, but a lot of these rank and file Democrats that just, first and foremost, hate Trump. They hate Trump. That's what they begin and end with. So good luck for James Carville trying to get to him going, well, look now, I know that we taught you for the last 8 years to hate Trump. But this is a trick. This is a work. This is not what you should be thinking. Good luck with that. They hate Trump. You've been too successful. And he just told you to do one thing, and all they know is that Trump tells me to do one thing, I've got to do the other. So it was I thought, a well-done column. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, because I just don't, honestly, I don't think it really matters. I think that the Democrats are going to be successful in August, if not sooner, probably in August, of getting Biden to step down. He's generally a totally transactional man. He has no real core beliefs. He's a demented person at this point. Again, set him aside. You're really dealing with Jill Biden. And again, she's probably a hardcore liberal, but she also has her price. She's clearly a grifter just like the rest of them. So just got to pay her price. Got to find out what it is and meet it. And that will be done. So I don't know if for the Republicans to waste a lot of bandwidth here, a lot of energy, a lot of money and ads attacking the Bidens, probably wasting their time. You're probably destroying a target that's not going to matter. So I guess all we can do at the moment is wait. Probably what Trump should be doing right now is running positive ads. Forget about the other team. He should just be telling you, when I was president, this is what gas was. This is what ground beef costs. This is what it costs to go to the movies. Just trying to remind people that things were pretty good for the average American when he was president. And, this idea that he's a monster is nonsense. Show him holding a puppy or something. Show him shaking hands with a soldier, whatever. All right, so what else is going on the rest of the week? Like I said, I don't think you're going to see anything. I do not expect Biden to drop out. I'm reading this stuff like, I'd be surprised if he lasts the week. Did you hear any of what he said Friday night? Did you hear any of what he said Monday, today? He's taking these intractable positions. He's not just going to 180 in a week. He's got to soften that position up a little bit. That's going to take more than a day or two. So he isn't dropping out anytime in the next day, week, few weeks. Again, I'm saying August. And they'll work a story. They'll work a storyline that makes sense to the American voter. He may have a fictional medical episode. I was fine at the debate. I was fine the days after the debate. But all this stress, I just had an episode and the doctors tell me it just would be best if I didn't run, and it breaks my heart to do so. But I'm going to accede to the wishes of my family. Blah, 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 lie. It'll be something like that. But I guess the rest of this Thursday, he has NATO. Thursday, this is how ridiculous it is, and this is why it's almost like, God, somehow if this guy could just get through these Democrat attacks and stay the nominee, we could almost not, how could we not win? They actually said these words. This is one of those where I had to turn the sound on my computer and actually listen to the bit from the Democrat Rapacek talking to make sure that it matched what's in the little article. They said they're having a big boy press conference. Said it twice. Kirby, I think, is that one of the Democrat Rapaceks? Pierre, the press secretary. They both used the phrase big boy. Big boy? A big boy press conference? You mean the one where the reporters ask more than 2 questions? You mean the kind that most presidents would have routinely, the kind that Trump would have all the time? Why is that? Is that because Trump's a bigger boy than Joe Biden? What, a big boy press conference? Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, you're using terms like that. This is a leader of the free world. You're calling him a big boy. Congratulations, Joe. I'm so proud of you. You answered all the questions. You knew all the answers. Yay. God damn. I mean, Jerry, if this isn't more embarrassing than Donald Trump, then you're misusing the word embarrassing. That's all I got to say there. Someday I'm going to get a hold of Jerry again. He's kind of gone dark lately. I'm going to get a hold of him, and I'll have some fun. At the end of which he'll tell me he's voting for Joe Biden. And then I can tell him he didn't know the definition of the word embarrassing. But, Lord, I mean, a big boy press conference. Big boy. You're a big boy. Big boy. A big boy. We're dealing with a 6-year-old. The goodest we can do, a big boy. A 6-year-old runs this country. It's embarrassing. It's terrible. It's just terrible. Unfortunately, we're going to get what we want. He's going to be kicked out, and we're going to be left with somebody probably much more formidable. We just have to try to smash him as much as we can over the lies of covering up Biden's condition for the last year and a half. All the lies that they've told as far as the succession process and what have you. Hopefully it'll be unseemly enough for the American voter that they'll go, this just feels like these guys are doing anything and everything to hang on to power. that they're twisting themselves in a pretzel to win this election, which they are. I mean, they've tried every last thing, fair and foul, to win this election. And it's just, it's ugly. It is flat ugly what they're doing. Just got to try to beat them because these are very, very bad people with very, very bad policies. And this lawfare, unrestrained lawfare is going to wreck this country if it hasn't already. It really is. And the Democrats don't care. They really just do not care. So, all right, I think that's all I got for you this evening. Sadly, I think we're just going to be on kind of cruise control now for the next month or so. Oh, we'll be able to talk about Trump's VP candidate. That's coming up here. But after that, I think the Democrat war is, going on behind the scenes, and they're not really showing all their cards. So Biden's going to pretend to be the nominee for the next 6 weeks, and then he's going to go. I don't think he's going to make it past Labor Day. I don't think he makes it past their convention. I could change my mind Friday, but I don't think so. I don't think so. This looks like they've made a decision. And Joe Biden, every time he basically does anything, he just shows he's more and more incapable of being president. So, hey, I believe in free speech. Let's use it while we still can. Let's vote for Donald Trump. Because if we don't vote for Donald Trump, well, our speech will be endangered. That's for damn sure. Talk to you later. Signing off, Eric Arnold.